Hi guys, I'm Shelley and it's that time of the month. It's September wrap-up time. I had read 8 books and so I will jump straight into them. The first one I read in September were We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I was hooked. I read it in 48 hours. I can't describe this book without giving too much away. Suffice to say it's about a girl who goes on holiday, had this kind of traumatic thing happen to her, and he kind of relives her past and works through some, let's say, post-traumatic stress. It sort of reminded me of Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. There's this kind of whodunit and there's a lot of family drama. Based in America, it's with a family that are pretty rich. I'd say they were about Gossip Girl rich because they have their own island. The writing sucks you in. I really wanted to know what the twist was at the end. I didn't see it coming. I don't usually read this genre of crime and whodunit, but this one really sucked me in and I want to read more of E. Lockhart's books now. Second book I picked up were Weird Things People Say in Bookshops by Jen Campbell. I'm actually doing a giveaway of this book at the moment. I will put a link down below, so go check that out. Jen is a bookseller in a bookshop and this is basically what it says on the tin. She is telling you weird things people say in bookshops from not just her bookshop but from her friends' bookshops and from lots of different places. It's charming and wonderful and very, very easy to read. It's quite small. It made me happy, it made me laugh, it made me go, ah. Go check out the giveaway link below and you might get a chance to win a signed edition of this book. Next I picked up Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. This is a book about Amy, whose family have just moved from California to the East Coast, but she's still technically in California and her mum wants her to drive the car from one end of the United States to the other. The only thing is, she doesn't like to drive. Family friend hooks her up with a guy named Roger who needs to get to the other side of the country, and so they go on a road trip. Now the road trip is extremely planned out by her mother. She has to go here and here and here. And about a day into this regimented, boring road trip, they decide to that and they're going to go a bit mental and just go wherever they feel like it. I've never really wanted to visit America. This kind of makes me want to. It's written like Amy's travel journal. It's full of the playlists that they listened to as they went along and scrapbooks of where they stopped and what they bought and the meals and everything. And it really did feel like you were going along with them, and it's just a really nice kind of feel-good read, but with a certain amount of trepidation because they are two strangers just stuffed in a car together. They don't know each other. Yes, there's a little bit of romance, but mainly it's about the friendship that goes between these two people. Next, I read The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I've been wanting to read this for absolutely ages and never really had the guts to pick it up. It's about a kid named Christopher who has autism and has a certain difficulty in his family with the autism and with his mum and his dad, and basically he finds his next door neighbour's dog has been murdered and so he wants to look into it. It's written like Christopher's diary, so you are reading into the brain of a kid who has autism. By about 3 chapters in, I wasn't nervous anymore. I was just sucked in by the way his brain works, and it really makes you think. It also made me care for Christopher so much. He has such a big heart and he gets so nervous and so pent up. Next, I went to Audible and listened to Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy. This one's now set in modern day. Basically, her and Mark Darcy got married. I don't really want to say anything else. She has 2 kids. She's still Bridget. She's still nuts. She still worries about things she doesn't need to worry about. She's discovered Twitter. Good lord. So she spends all her time worrying about the tweets that she does. She does drunken tweets, which I found really, really brilliant. I still love drunk Bridget so much. She's just fantastic. It jumps about a bit. It starts at modern day, then jumps back to when something significant happened and then moves back to the timeline again. I found that a bit confusing. Lots of people don't like it so much, and I must admit it's not as good as the first 2, but I still really liked it. I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars on Goodreads. It's a good kind of wrap up and way of finishing. Next I read The Mammoth Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, which is about, I don't really know what it's about, and I've read it. It's about a couple of different generations looking into the history of Dracula, and weird things happen to them every time they do. It's told on 3 different fronts from 3 different points of view in 3 different points of time. I did get a bit confused as to who was talking when. It travels around the world going to Istanbul and Cairo and all these different places that I've now forgotten. I must admit I've read it and I've forgotten a lot of it. It was a nice entertaining read at about 700 pages long. Yeah, it went on a bit. It could be shorter, to be honest. On the Kindle, I read the 3rd of the Abigail Barnett erotic fiction series. You have no idea how many times I've tried to say that now. This one is called The Bride. It follows Sophie, who 5 years ago had an affair with a man that she met in an airport, and it turns out now that he is her boss. So he's been her boss, he's been her boyfriend, and now he's kind of her fiance. Originally they had a BDSM relationship, and they still kind of do, but most of the erotica is kind of fading out of the book. It's mainly about their life and how they're moving on, and how he's meeting her family, she's meeting his. I sort of skimmed through this book quite quickly. I'm kind of losing interest in the story, to be honest. But there's one more to go and I'll probably finish the series. Last but by no means least, I read Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. I say I read it, I actually listened to it on audiobook. My mum was skimming the internet and found out that Kindle at the moment are offering us 10 classics that you can read for free, and then you get the audio too. Put a link down below to the offer and to the 10 books. I listened to Cranford, I think in one night. It's quite a short story about a community of older ladies living in the kind of Pride and Prejudice time, I think. I love history, I love period history, and I don't know what time frame that is. Is it Edwardian time? It's really entertaining. It's about how things come into these women's lives, how culture and community is moving on, and they're kind of dealing with it as it happens, and quite funny and endearing and charming, and I loved it. I also have this gorgeous copy that I got at the book barn, which is just so pretty and I love it. I may want to actually physically read it as well because it's just so pretty. I love it. And that's all the books I read in September. I don't really have a TBR for October. I tend not to do TBRs a month in advance because I always get sidetracked. I'd love to know what you guys think of any of the books I read, so hit me up in the comments and we can talk. Again, don't forget, giving this away, so go check out the giveaway and enter because I want to give everybody a copy of this book. It's just fantastic. Hope you guys are good. Happy October. What happens in October? Halloween! We have Halloween this month. Woohoo! I love Halloween. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. English. Out of mouth. Sentence. In a way that people can understand, please.